3, 2, 1, we're in. Hi, everybody. It's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. How's it going? Welcome to our show. We want to let you know that we're here every Tuesday night. Every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on Armed Radio, armeddigitalmedia.com, Armed Radio Global. We go live on the radio. And if you want to hear us, you have a computer, just type that in, armeddigitalmedia.com, Armed Radio Global. Or if you have a TuneIn app on your phone, you just type in Armed Radio, and you're going to hear our show live. Now, here we go. Here they come. As they come barrel-assing in here, our regulars, I love them. Annette Zito has joined us. Kate Greer has joined us. Corey Crane has joined us. John Roman Lars has joined us. Hi, everybody. Lauren Reinhardt has joined us. So I was telling Ruby and Jerry that our regulars pop on usually within the first few minutes. Rena Cunali-Berger, that's my cousin in Massachusetts. Ed Kutu, we went to high school together. He has Blade Salon in Rocky Hill, Connecticut. Eugenia Mesa, that's my sweetheart. She's in Jersey across the river. Michael Mackesy, our friend, my old roommate, and our mutual friend, incredible musical director. Actually, Michael is doing something. Michael Holloway has joined us. Sean Kent's joined us. Michael Mackesy and Sean and Scott Barberino are doing this great thing called Piano Bar Live. They go from piano bar to piano bar. And this month they're at Brandy's Mondays in October, starting at 7 o'clock. I think that it's like an hour and a half, and they go live. And they have all these great guests on. And the next Monday, I'm actually one of the guests. I'm going to sing a song, and then I'm run to the duplex where I work on Monday nights. But I said if I can go in the beginning, I'll do it. And so I'm so excited to be making music with Michael Mackesy. So we are old roomies. And this desk is Michael Mackesy's desk. Wow. Michael, I'm holding on. I should have had you sign it when you were here, Michael. Then I could get some big money for it. And he's saying, hiya, Ruby, says Michael Mackesy.
Hi, Michael.
Ed Kutu says hello from Connecticut. Okay. So we have a lot of our regulars on. So here's what we do every week. The mission of my show is to take two creative people, and we talk about the reality of living, thriving, and surviving as a creative person in the city. Chris Colacho has joined us. Hi, Chris. And what that means, the day-to-day to that. Now, I usually put people together for a reason. I usually have something that they have in common. So I've been dying to have Jerry on for a long time. And then Ruby, I thought Ruby is too busy to do this show. I mean, how do you get Ruby Rims to show up for anything, right?
Food.
Exactly. So Michael Mackesy was on. Food works every time. And Scott Barberino, and then Ruby was watching the show, and then she was on Facebook Live with the live piano bar. And we talked to each other, and she said, oh, I'll come do your show. And I said, I would love that. I would love it. And then I thought, oh my God, I'm going to put Jerry and Ruby on the same show. And I'm naming this show The Legend Continues. And we were talking earlier. So, and as we go, it'll all make sense to you. Okay. So I want to welcome Jerry Mastrolia, fellow Italian, and the nephew of my good friend Silvana Mastrolia.
It's my Auntie Mame.
Who is so wonderful. And the very unruly, as I found out in the studio as we were getting ready, Ruby Rims. Should I be at all surprised that Ruby was unruly? That's going to be a hashtag. Ruby was unruly. Renee Stanley has joined us. Yeah.
Ruby Unruly Rims.
That's it. Oh, my God. All right. So, my God, let's start with Ruby. Because I got to tell you a quick story, Ruby. When I lived in Massachusetts, this was the early 80s. I was working in a great place called Romy's Quarterdeck. It was like a Broadway at your table type dinner theater. We did 3 reviews a night. And there was this amazing man that I was fascinated with that became a good friend. His name was Richard Collins. And he used to do drag in Massachusetts in the suburbs. So he would come all the way from New York every weekend, and I would pick him up at the bus station. And he was so over the top. And I would be thinking, back then it was the 80s. I was like, keep it down, Richard. Keep it down. And he was so funny and over the top. And people loved him. Like, he opened these avenues for people to be comfortable with what he was doing and who he was. But his idol, and that's when I first heard your name, was Ruby Rims. He said, oh, whatever I do, I'm nothing compared to Ruby Rims. And I was like, who the hell is Ruby Rims? I didn't know who Ruby Rims was. When I moved to New York, immediately I knew who Ruby Rims was because you were doing shows at all the clubs. Everyone knew you, and you were a legend. You are a legend. But I put the name with the face and the persona, and I was like, oh, that's what he meant. And it was true. Like Ruby had a standard that was so high that other people were kind of doing some of your jokes, or they were kind of trying to do what you were doing, but they weren't you. So you went to the original. It was Ruby. And so that's why Ruby, to me, you're a legend. And I really appreciate everything that you've done. So I wanted to say that. Mandar Chick Magnet has joined us. Cheryl Giuliani Rubenstein has joined us. So, all right. So with that said, Ruby, and we could talk about anything that, that comes up that's happening now, whatever. But what year did you come to the city? I know you said you were from Newark, right?
Yes.
So what year did you come to the city? And did you start right away doing drag, or did you start as a singer? What was your intention when you crossed that river Hudson?
Well, I came to my first gay bar when I was 18 years old, because in those days you only be 18 to drink.
Right, I remember
So,
that.
And the first bar I ever went to was the Round Table, which is
Okay.
up on East 50th Street. And one night I was there, and they had a drag show, and it was a wonderful man by the name of John LaFleur.
Wow.
And I saw him do the show, and I said to myself, "Oh, I could do that,
Really?
and I could do it better."
Right. Well,
And so a couple years later, there was this little bar in Newark called The Other World, and I started performing there. And a bunch of drag queens from New York started coming and performing there. And there was a wonderful man named David Miller, and he kind of took me under his wing, and he brought me, and I performed with him at the Limelight. Not the church.
No, the old
Not
Limelight.
the church.
Not the church.
Right.
The original Limelight, which was on 7th Avenue South between Grove and Barrow.
Right.
Which is now Jekyll and Hyde.
Yep.
Mhm.
Which is, yep.
And
Isn't that something?
I started performing there, and we would go out. This was 74, 75.
What a different world that
And
must have
at the
been.
time of the year, we would go outside.
Oh my God, can you
and I'd be
imagine?
standing outside having a cigarette, and I hear this music coming from like across the street.
And what
And
was
I
it coming
crossed the
from?
street, and it was Maurice Crisis.
Wow, which is still there.
Which is still
It
there.
is.
And if you don't know what Marie's Crisis is, it's a one of the oldest clubs in the city, really, that does live piano bar. Then they don't use microphones, and I don't even think they've changed any of the decor since the beginning. Nothing. Now the speck of
thing.
dust has
Not a
been
thing.
moved. Right now, just hold that thought, because a lot of people have come on and I want to acknowledge them. Dave Downs, my friend Dave Downs from Long Island. I haven't seen you in I don't know how long. Where the hell have you been? I have missed you. Coco Larange has joined us. That is the amazing Sarah Muco. Sarah, I love you as a person, but I'm a huge fan of your music. The Sometimes Boys. I got to have you on the show. And they just released their album. So go and check out the Sometimes Boys on Spotify. You won't believe how good this music is. Kind of bluegrassy, amazing. Jerry Sammartino has joined us. Bethany Vaughn. Bethany, I was just talking about Roni's Quarterdeck. I can't believe it. We were singing waiters there. She has an amazing voice. Suzanne Mason has joined us. Margaret Curry has joined us. Isabella Raskowski, my cousin from Massachusetts. Okay, so Ruby, this is Ruby Rims, if you guys don't know, and this is Jerry Mastrolia. They're both amazing entertainers. I put you under the entertainer category. And you do a lot of different things. You sing, you are, you're actors, but what you, to me, are known as are risk takers of different generations. And Ruby, you started doing, you said you came here from Newark, you started doing drag in 74. In 74, nobody even said the word gay, never mind drag. It was unheard of. You didn't, and you were earlier talking about like, people back then like Charles Nelson Riley or Paul Lind. Nobody said those things. Or Liberace. How about Liberace?
Liberace.
I mean, that's what your reference was. And even those guys, you didn't say it.
Nope.
You know what I mean? So Ruby, we heard a little bit of the beginning. I want to go back and forth because I want to get how the worlds are different. And also, so Jerry, you're a young guy. You're 25, so you were born
It's
in
my
what
Earth
year?
age.
I know this is what he said. Go ahead. Tell them what you said to me. My Earth age is.
It is 25, but I'm 25 going on 85. I know most things that people my age don't know.
And how did you get to know those things?
It's just from being an old soul. And my father introduced me to the Three Stooges at age
Which
3.
I love it. I love it.
And it just started from there. Abbott and Costello, I Love Lucy, and then the variety shows and
Carol Burnett.
Carol Burnett, who's my stage
Me
mama.
too. So
She's
number one.
Oh my God, I'm
Number
seeing
one.
her. I'm
You are?
seeing
When?
her. October 25th
Where?
in Brookville, New York,
wow.
about an hour away.
That's amazing.
I got tickets for my mother and I.
How
It's
cool.
a very late Mother's Day present, but I was in the process of moving to New York, so
Wow,
I
that's
needed to
great.
save my coins.
So what? So you do? I wouldn't put you under the drag category. I'd put you more under the female impersonator category. Is that correct?
Female impersonation. I've been going by character actor.
Okay, I love that.
Or we came up, my Golden Girls troupe and I came up with drag tour.
Oh, I love that.
Drag tour. So we're not drag queens per se, even though
Yeah.
we do dress up and do female
But-
impersonation.
But when I first was introduced to what you do by your aunt, who
Mhm.
showed me a lot of your stuff, Jennifer Pace has joined us, Dale Cover has joined us, Michael McDermott. Hi, folks. You were doing impressions of divas and
Yes.
doing them very, very, very well. And trust me, I've seen a lot of stuff in my day in this town. And some of it's great and some of it's not so great. Yours is great.
Thank you.
So I want to say that. So now, Ruby, you were doing more like, did you play a character or you had your own show going? You were just Ruby Rims, right?
I did impersonations.
And what were some of the impersonations you did?
Carol Channing.
Carol Channing.
You love Carol.
Here they go.
Nobody told her she's dead yet.
Nobody.
Nobody. Corn. When did I have corn? Betsy Davis.
He
All
did.
night, Betty. I love the whole sunny day. Did they want to hold me? Oh, don't you, my darling? I did.
This is another language, folks, just so you don't know. I should have subtitles underneath. This is a whole other world.
Another world.
So these are the impressions that. So Ruby,
Connie
I'm
Francis.
Connie Francis.
Francis.
Wow.
I knew somebody who owned one of her wigs. Just sidebar.
Jerry, talk this way, honey, so we don't miss your beautiful
Oh,
voice.
sorry.
I know because he's being polite and not turning his back on.
need to look in there.
But we want to
and I
make
did
sure.
Barbara Bush.
You
But someone
did?
had to.
So- Wait, did you really do Barbara Bush?
I did. I did a whole medley of I did a medley. I had her do a medley. I started with it. Like, someone came to me and we did a greeting cards.
Okay.
You know, all those days when nonsense.
Right,
Yes.
right.
It
Which
started out as
yes.
a greeting card.
really?
It also started out at the duplex.
I know that. That I know. That I know.
The real duplex. And nonsense.
Is
started
that
as
an
a greeting
original
card.
shirt?
This
That's
is-
an original
well,
shirt.
this is the original.
The original
logo.
logo of the
This
old
is
duplex,
original logo.
which
This is-
was then
Matt
eventually
Berman
turned
had
into.
Matt Berman had these made up.
Wow.
But for us,
Which
we
was
did-
across
we
the
did-
street. Now the
yeah.
duplex that you know now,
Yes, the
although a
duplex.
lot of the people came over.
Right.
So, but the old
And then-
duplex was where Rose's Turn ended up, and then now Rose's Turn is gone as well.
Right, and it's this office building, which is
Yeah, but I know it's so
Oh,
sad.
God. Ugh.
Christy
Look
Piero
what
has
I've done
joined
to my
us.
song.
We love Christy Piero.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
He's a great guy. Chris is an amazing filmmaker and actor and writer and great guy.
We went to his premiere.
I know I went too, but I think you went to the premiere. I went the next day.
Oh, yes.
they had
you
the
went to the
showing.
premiere. I went to the screening.
Greg Scott has joined us. Okay, so yours was more. You were doing. You were Ruby Rims though. You would. I mean, that's what I would see all over town.
Right.
If you were in the Village in the late 70s, early 80s, all the 80s and 90s, that's what you saw.
Yeah.
Ruby Rims was the top of the list. And a lot of people tried to do what you did, and there were, people that did it, like I said, well, and there were some people that, tried it and then went about their business.
Right.
But you sustained it, and that was what was amazing. And Jerry, who were some of the people that when you were like, did you always want to do impressions? How did you start doing impressions as a younger person that wasn't really, I mean, these are old actors that you're doing. Like even Liza and stuff, really of your generation, wasn't really. We were seeing her on Broadway. We were seeing her in movies, on cabaret clubs. But where did you start getting this love for these people and wanting to imitate them?
I started a memory from when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
I started. That's when I started, tapping into the musical theater world, and we wrote this review as part of the summer camp routine, and someone cast me. The director cast me as Groucho Marx.
Okay.
They needed a character actor bit, and they decided to write in Groucho Marx, and I did it, and then it kind of just continued from there, and just my love and fascination for female impersonation and all the divas, and just they were pioneers.
And you folks earlier were talking about like Mae West.
Yes.
And those, think about those, like when I look at old Mae West movies, how dirty she was. I couldn't believe it.
Wrote all of her own stuff.
Really?
Wrote all of her
That's
own stuff.
those W.C. Fields and Mae West movies.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, were they ahead of their time?
Yes. Yeah, and
right?
she didn't want to work with W.C. Fields, and if she noticed that he had been drunk on set, it was in their contract that he needed to be ejected from the set.
Isn't that cool?
And that was one of her most famous films.
Yeah,
was
My
that.
Little Chickadee,
Yeah,
right?
My Little
yeah.
Chickadee.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I love it. So younger people, if you're watching or you watch this or listen to podcasts, it's such a great thing to do. To spend some time going back and seeing and finding out who these old divas were. They were amazing. So the Betty Davises. So what you have in common of women that you loved, admired, and probably did impressions were, let's name them. Betty Davis. You talked about, right? Carol Channing.
Joan Crawford. We look, no wire hanger.
Right. We just talked about Mae West.
Tallulah Bankhead. I'm gonna
Betty, if you ever give birth to have one of the puppies.
Telling you.
Hey.
And then, so Liza for sure.
Yeah, she's fabulous. She's really fabulous. Marie, I'm just so happy to be here on your show. I think it's absolutely terrific.
Liza is wonderful.
Really, I'm just so happy to be someplace. I really am.
And you did a show. Now I want to Tracy McHugh's joined us. Kia Nelson, she's in Philly. Ellen Weiss has joined us. Lisa Yeager. Hi, Lisa Yeager. She was on the show. She's amazing. Lisa is in Jersey. Rory Taggart is in Canada.
Oh,
wow.
Canada.
Rory's out there. He used to go to the duplex all the time. He was one of my regulars and turned into a friend. Now, what was the name of your show, Jerry, that you did that with all the divas?
Legendary Divas.
Legendary
Kiss
Divas.
My Sass.
Kiss My Sass. We have to hashtag that too. Is that making a comeback at any time soon?
I'm dusting it off. The first time I did it, I got a lot of inspiration from the great female impersonators, male actresses of yesteryear, Charles Pierce, Craig Russell, Jim Bailey, T.C. Jones.
How did you find Craig Russell at your age? Because Craig Russell was even underground when I was up and coming, as I used to go to Provincetown with Mario Cantone because we went to high school together.
Love him.
So we were buddies. We were high school buddies. And he was just like, he knew everything there was to know. And he was super worldly for a person of his age. So I just, he was like, let's go to Provincetown. We'd go like, okay. And we'd follow Mario wherever he went. And he would perform. He, even at that age, he was a young guy. But he had become friends with Craig Russell, and he admired him. And I remember meeting, I went with Mario and a friend of my friend, Gene Simpson, and Craig Russell was performing. It was called Shut Up While I'm On, was the name of the show. And then, it was one of the lines, Divine was there, was staying in the same hotel as us and performing down in at the Pilgrim House. Yes.
I played the Pilgrim House.
Did you? Okay, you see what I mean? What year did you play the Pilgrim House, Ruby?
1980, 1981.
I was probably there.
I played the Pilgrim House in 81. I played the A House.
Ruby, I'm sure I saw you because those were the years that I was young, so I was underage, but it was 18, the drinking age back then.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that was around right after I graduated. So I remember it was amazing. Tiffany Jones, do you remember Tiffany Jones?
Tornado, sure.
It was, I mean, these
Bobby
amazing
Calicut.
legends are like just the beginning. And I was just all eyes, like eyes and ears. I couldn't believe it was fascinating world. It was a fascinating, and it was sort of underground. I mean, it wasn't underground in Provincetown because you could, but even Provincetown, it was, look, it's on the peninsula. It's at the very end. It's like a safe place to be. You know, if you think about it, Key West, all these places are like places that, you know, you can keep your people to yourself. But I was just fascinated. And so that's where I heard about Craig Russell. But how does someone your age find Craig Russell?
Through the magic and the power and the rabbit hole that is YouTube.
Right. Amazing.
And it just, you know, popped up one day, and I just watched his film, and I got connected with his book writer, actually.
Daryl Mossberg has joined us. Gina
Yeah.
Scarpinato has joined us.
Hi,
You got
Gina.
connected with this book writer. Wow.
Yeah, Brian Bradley. He actually saw my impersonation show, the montage that I had made and put online, and he reached out, and it was one of the best emails I had ever gotten. You know, that he was writing a biography on Craig and his life that's coming
Wow.
out in 2020. I
Wow.
think May or June of 2020,
And
and it was
Go-
amazing.
go
It
ahead.
there
was
was a remake. You know, there was
a
outrageous,
second
too
one.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Too outrageous. Which Jimmy James was in.
Yes,
Right. Jimmy James
Yes.
is
And
amazing.
Jimmy James stole the movie.
yes, he did. With
Jimmy
his Marilyn
James
Monroe.
is
Jimmy James,
amazing.
yeah, Marilyn Monroe.
I've
We
seen
did-
Jimmy James live, and it's amazing.
He's
I
brilliant.
suppose it did.
You see? Okay. Unruly.
Those are Unruly Rims.
Unruly rims. Right. That's what we're calling it.
Jimmy James and I
Unruly.
did. Jimmy, I love Jimmy James.
Amazing.
I
He's a
Amazing.
love
doll.
His
amazing.
Monroe was one of the
Well,
most
beautiful, actually.
phenomenal
Jimmy
things.
James is
And we did
beautiful.
Phil Donahue. We did Phil Donahue.
You
together.
did?
I got him on Phil Donahue.
I was just
wait,
gonna say,
when did you
yeah.
do Phil Donahue?
86.
And were you dressed?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
what was his? How did he approach it? How did Phil approach it? Because that was a big deal back then too.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
One of his producers, Marlene Salet, who came to see me my last show at Metro Baptist, and I saluted her because she used to come in the duplex and she loved the duplex. And one night I got up and did one of my routines in my Betty and did my Carol Channing, and she was there. And I heard she was one of Phil Donahue's producers. She
Wow.
came up to me and says, "You're really wonderful." And he says, "You're Ruby." I says, "Yes." I says, "You're Marlene." She said, "Yes."
You
I
knew
said,
her, okay?
Well, I knew because people had talked about her. And
Right.
I said, "You're one of Phil Donahue's producers, aren't you?" She said, "Yes." I says, "Well, if you ever have drag queens on again, remember me."
Give me a
Oh,
call.
wow.
3
see?
minutes later, she called the duplex and tried to find me and found me. Left her number. I called her. She says, "You want to do Donahue?" And I did Donahue.
Amazing.
Because of the duplex.
Amazing.
Wow.
And that's
Uh,
when Rick Panson owned it.
I know, and I remember Rick. Rick was very good to me. So, Rick, if you're listening, thank you. Paul, he hired me. Paul Lucas has joined
Hi,
us.
Paulie.
Amazing. He's also a producer. He's an amazing playwright and actor and great person. I love Paul. Justine Mary has joined us. That
Justine.
we know Justine Rossi, and she was
Yeah.
in Tony and Tina's. She played Tina for many, many years.
Yes.
You were in Tony and Tina's.
I was.
Tell us about Tony and Tina's.
She
What
just
you-
recently played my mama.
I can't believe. You see, we all
She's
started
much
off.
too young to be a mama.
Well, when Justine and I were in it, we were in our late 20s, I think, back then, in the village. And so Justine was she was Tina. I was one of the bridesmaids, and that's when we met. Chris came in. That crew came in,
Yeah.
and then over the years we get older, and then we play the older ones. And so you were playing Joey,
I was playing Joey.
and
Yeah.
Justine was your mom then.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. My aunt played my mother a few times. During
That's
some
really
out of
cool.
town gigs.
I bet
and
that was really cool too.
it's-
Both of it. Justine's great.
it's just phenomenal. It's just a phenomenal company to work with, and they're just you guys set such a foundation of love. that it
Well, I
just-
followed other
you know.
people that had set a foundation of love,
Mhm.
and I mean, we're still friends with everybody. It's amazing. Ruby,
Everyone's
do you
great.
remember in the village, Tony and Tina's wedding, going through
Yes.
with
Yes,
those because we were down in the village back then, and we would go from the church on Christopher Street. Well, first we would walk to the church
Mhm.
from Waverly 147 Waverly. We'd walk to the church and we'd stay in character the whole time. And then we'd do the performance in the church, and then we'd walk with all the guests in character. You never broke character, ever, ever. And then the only time you broke character was in the dressing room, and we had a big sign that said improv free zone.
That is
Because
phenomenal.
we could just like be like, oh.
Because you have to turn it off.
Where was
You
the
have to turn it
reception?
off.
It was
We
at
have a
above
CD.
what at the time was called Gus's Place, which doesn't exist anymore, on 147 Waverly, where Waverly and Waverly come together.
Right.
And it's like where the old dispensary is, or the northern dispensary on
It's
right.
where Waverly used to
Yes,
be.
that's where it is. So it was right there, but now it's apartment buildings. It's a high-rise apartment buildings. But that's what it was. Gus's Place, which was this amazing Greek restaurant, and then we were above it, and some of the best days of my life ever. When I think about that time, literally my heart starts pounding double time. It was a great, and I'm sure you had the same experience.
I did.
Darius has joined us. Remember Darius Frowner, Ruby? So Darius and I run Singer Spotlight Night at the Duplex Mondays and Thursdays. It's an open mic night. It's amazing. It's a very, very welcoming, supportive open mic. Please
I
come
wanna
by.
come.
Ruby's come by and sung. You would love it, Jerry.
I
Love it.
Yes.
No cover. Just come in, buy a drink or two, or hang out and with your friend. You make so many friends. Kyle de Blasio has joined us. Hi, Kyle. All right. So now let me just check the time because I like to see where we're at. Okay. So now, Ruby, what would you say has changed the most from when you were doing it and what's happening now? Whether it's a generational thing, whether it's times, how have the times changed, Ruby? Give us a time capsule
For drag or for gay life or
for any of it.
Oh, well, I think, for gay life, it's definitely become more of an acceptance compared to years ago.
Right,
You know, you didn't talk about being gay.
right.
Now you can have a conversation. I sit in the morning, every morning in Starbucks in my building on 9th Avenue, and I watch the boys come in.
Yeah,
Hell's Kitchen. And the boys are coming in and they hold hands and they get their coffee and they kiss each other goodbye and they go to work.
right.
And it's so touching, and yet for me it's so bittersweet.
Yep, because it was very different.
Because if I were to do that in my day, I'd be dead.
Yep, you would. And people don't. I mean, I just got chills because you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And that's when I always go, oh, it was so different. Like I can't even. It would have been impossible back then to do what people are doing now. You would have been beat up. You would have been, a lot of times killed. People were killed.
I had been.
Now you talked about.
I was bashed many years ago.
All right. So all that stuff, and a lot of people we knew.
All that jazz.
Yes.
Right.
And then as far as drag goes, you have RuPaul's Drag Race.
Mhm.
Right. Look at it. It's like
mainstream.
The queens are being themselves.
right.
I did characters, but I was myself. Most important, I was Ruby Rims.
Right.
When I just started doing drag, they all wanted to be lookalikes.
Mhm.
David Miller did Barbara Streisand and Cher, and they looked.
I'm
they
wearing my
wanted to look
Streisand
that.
shirt.
They wanted to be lookalikes.
Right.
Whereas I was me.
Yeah, I know. I remember
Nowadays, these kids are all like doing their own characters because they don't have the people that we had in my generation, like Betty Davis and like Carol
that.
Channing.
Right.
They're not distinct.
Right.
They're not-
Who's really? I agree with you. We were talking
Me
about
too.
this the other day. You're absolutely right. Those were icons.
They're icons and they're characters. There
They
aren't
were
any more
characters, right.
Characters.
There's-
Right. Well,
Nope.
there's Lady Gaga.
Right,
I'll
yes.
give her that.
Yeah, but
She
you,
is.
She's a
you
character.
can't spend all that money to buy meat and put on yourself. As the other kind of meat I like to put on. But anyway,
Ruby, you see what I'm saying? Unruly. Unruly.
but I mean, it's like she's like the only one.
Right.
I mean,
And
yeah,
even her-
she's
Yeah.
incredibly talented. But how the hell you do Taylor Swift?
Right.
You know,
Right.
I mean, incredible
Right.
talent.
Because
Or
I go ahead.
One of the, dare I say it, Kardashians.
Right.
Right.
Well, I personally feel, and I know a lot of people love them and all that stuff. I feel like they've really ruined the world. I really do.
I agree.
mean, because what it is like you said, there are characters. Like those women were very extravagant. They loved beautiful things. They spent money.
Outlandish.
Right, outlandish. So that's not the part. But the Kardashians do that, but there's nothing happening.
No.
It's just a loop of it's the same stuff over and there's nothing happening. So, I mean, think about like the Gabor sisters. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Like
This is the place to be. Living is a life.
I loved it. I loved all that
I
stuff.
love it. Begin
All those big furs and my favorite decade
Now
was
you
like
can't
the
wear a
50s.
fur.
Yeah.
Now you
Yeah.
can't
I know,
wear a
I know.
fur because it's not politically correct.
But that Rat Pack thing, I loved it. My sister and I are huge fans of the Rat Pack era. But you're right. Like now, Madonna, I guess
Madonna is still
Madonna.
reinventing herself.
I mean, I'm not a huge.
Come on,
I could care
Birdcage.
less about Madonna, but I know a lot of people love her,
Yes.
and you got to give it to her. She has really, what she's done has been a pretty amazing. She sustained it. But so I think you're right. Now they're doing their own characters, like Law and Order. Why is my favorite? My
Mhm.
favorite is amazing. She sings live, which I want to go back and talk about this too. Sings live, does not lip sync, and not that there's anything against it.
No.
If that's what you're doing, good for you. But I really have a lot of respect for her, and she has like an operatic range.
Wow.
But she plays Law and Order. That's her. She doesn't have to do Betty Davis or that's not too many people do that anymore. That's why I'm like Cherry's. Wow, cool.
Also,
But go ahead, Ruby.
Also,
Rainey Cole's joined us.
Rainy Cole.
Rainey, look who I have.
Hey,
Look who I
Rainey.
lassoed in, Rainey, from downtown.
She's probably saying, "Oh, hello, Queen."
Yeah, I'm sure she just said it. I heard her in my head.
Hi, girl. But
Talking about drag and people doing drag.
back
Lauren,
then, when we did Phil Donahue, it was more of an attitude. Let's watch the freaks.
Let's watch the freaks, right?
And now with RuPaul's Drag Race, it's let's watch the drag queens.
Right. And it's a
Because
competition.
mentality in certain places
Right.
has changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
We live in a bubble.
Yeah, I know. And New York is a whole different
And
world.
New York
I
is
love
a
it.
whole different world.
Yeah. And you
but-
forget, you
but-
step
and you
outside.
forget. Whoever thought, I never thought I would live to see, I never thought I'd live to see a black president.
Incredible.
I never thought I'd live to see gay marriage.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
no,
especially
that wasn't
being-
even on
being
the
a-
ever.
being a-
On the radar.
Being a 27-year AIDS survivor, I never thought I would get to see these things.
Yeah.
I know I have no intentions of dying because at the end of the world it's going to be me sharing roaches. But but if I do ever decide to kick the bucket, where was I going? Help me.
Well, where I think that you were going was that it's just become so mainstream now,
Yeah.
and you didn't think that you were going to live to see. You said a black president, gay marriage, the
And
things
I-
that have
I
changed.
would like to live to see a woman president.
Oh, I love that. But let me tell you
That's
something.
right.
As we're
Yeah.
talking about this, and to us, it seems like, of course, why wouldn't that
So
be okay?
natural.
There are people, and they don't. I'm not even going to say far away. There are people that are thinking, "Are you kidding?" They're so bothered by all this stuff. And you know what I do? I don't take it personally. I just say, I hope that people start to see that. Like you said, we used to be the freaks, and now and then it became more like mainstream, and then it was the entertainers, and then it was just the human beings, and what it is you know who I think the freaks are? People that are evil. That's who I like. Seriously, what I think are freaks is when I see these mass shooters. That's a freak.
Yep.
These people at these rallies that are screaming and beating each other up and seething and foaming to hate another human being. That's a freak. This is an entertainer. This is a free spirit. This is a soul that is soaring and just wants to share what what they feel. Evil, that's a freak, and you can keep your freaks. And so I hope to God that somehow, just by being who we are and just spreading some love and joy, that people start to realize that it's not the enemy. That, you know, the enemy is everywhere, and the enemy is just hatred. That's really
Hatred.
what it is,
Hatred
right?
is the
And
enemy.
we actually have what's amazing. I have found amazing is in this Democratic primary. Look at the diversity.
Amazing,
Of
incredible.
candidates that we have.
I know.
We have a gay man who's being taken seriously.
Seriously,
From the
right.
president.
From Indiana,
From
Mike
Indiana,
Pence's state.
Mike
Yes.
Pence is-
I mean, although Mike
you
Pence
know,
is gay
we
too.
have-
Let's just.
Yeah.
you know.
I saw
But-
that picture.
But you know what's funny? Here's the difference between when people used to, you know, like we were talking about before, people that would just get married. Not just a while ago, I read on Master of Ceremonies, which is Joel Gray's autobiography. He's in his 80s now.
Yeah.
And he was married for many years because back then, as an entertainer, he did, you know, all the Yiddish theaters and all the Catskills. He played all that Broadway. You didn't talk about that
No.
at all. And so people did that. They had to get married. But think about how sad that is for the person that you're marrying and for you.
Yep.
Two people that are not really getting what they want. And it's sad. It's just perpetuating lies, you know? So, I mean, I know we got a little deep here, but it's part of the whole thing,
It
right?
is. It is.
Now, let me see where we're at. Okay, we're going to fly into our food section, which is the only reason Ruby showed up. Because I couldn't get, Ruby Rims is, you know, famous, and you know how the famous people are.
Yep.
So Ruby said she's here for the food, and let me tell you what I made tonight. So I made delicious pasta. Jerry, I know you're Italian. And Ruby, I think I said is a pasta okay.
I'm Italian by injection.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's three.
Still
I'm
a
from
pig.
York.
That's three.
From York.
No,
I'm
I
out.
knew
That's
it.
it. That's it. Off the set. So I made pappardella, which is like a thick kind of like tagliatelle, but you know what it is. It's delicious, and it's an egg noodle. And what did I make for sauce today? I made a tomato. So first, I sautéed shallots, cremini mushrooms, which are super flavorful, and capers. And then I put a garlic and onion powder and all that, actual real garlic, and then a little onion powder, onion salt. And I made this delicious tomato sauce. It's off the hook.
My mouth is watering.
Yeah, you're
just
gonna love
looking
it.
at it.
And I have capers.
Capers, the big ghost from the East Coast, you know.
Okay, you see? They're acting up. I can't put them together. What did I make for a salad? I made a delicious red leaf salad, red cabbage in there, red onion, radishes. I'm going with red. Some dill, which I love, and celery. I'm going to put a pomegranate, because it is fall now, officially, pomegranate vinegar and extra virgin olive oil, a little salt and pepper. That's going to be delicious. And guys, in honor of you, my dessert is fruit salad. That's right. I had to. Ruby, I had to go there. So I said, but I also have
Those
cookies.
blackberries are no.
They are blackberries
Oh.
and strawberries and cantaloupe. But I will tell you, yes, this is our celebrating the fruit salad. And I do have cookies in the kitchen, so don't worry. So that is what we are having tonight. All right. See, the fruit for fruit salad. I had to do it. All right. So now, Ruby, you every year, you're not just a performer. Michael Dion has joined us. Oh, my God. Dominic Pupa has joined us. Holy mackerel. Wait a minute. All the gays are out now. Michael Barberi has joined us. Hi, Michael. Let me see who else we have here. What is Mandor saying? Oh, Mandor always writes down exactly what I say for recipes. He is the keeper of my recipes. He just types it out when I say.
You got to be careful. He might release a book of yours.
I think he's going to. I think he's already in
Working on
talks with the big people. Michael Dion, we love Michael Dion. He's joined us. Yep, we love him. Michael Barberi, big fruit here. Michael Barberi is also big fruit. We celebrate fruit. Who doesn't love fruit?
Yep.
Fruit makes the world go round. It's happy and colorful, right?
Yes.
All right. So now, Ruby, what are you doing now? You also do a lot of Okay, see? Prostitute. Hooker.
good.
You're a hooker.
You hooker, you brought her.
You brought her. Ah!
A
lot of this going on.
Next up on Match Game, Ruby Rim.
Ruby, what are you doing for the holidays? You always do a show. You raise a lot of money.
Yes. Well, I'm doing it before that. I am doing a show doing my birthday show, Ruby Rim's Route 66. Yes, I am going to be 66 years old. I'm doing a show at Metro Baptist Church, November 1st. I was born on Halloween.
Wow, that's cool. So
that
you're Scorpio.
That explains that. Yeah,
Yeah, explains all
everything.
of it.
The only other days I could have been born on April Fool or Immaculate Conception.
Definitely the Immaculate Conception. I see where you're going with that.
I'm going on, but I learned don't do a show on Halloween because everybody wants to do what you're doing.
Well, this is what I think.
I'm doing a show November 1st.
Yeah.
Friday night, 8 o'clock, Metro Baptist Church, 410 West 40th Street, right behind Port Authority. And that's where every Saturday morning I run the food pantry there. I volunteer and I run the food pantry. And
Every Saturday morning.
So they're kind enough to give me the space. And then in return in December, December 8th and December 15th, I'm doing 2 shows. I do Ruby Rims and Friends do the Can. So on the 8th, I have all cabaret people.
Yep.
And on the 15th, you're on, kid. I'm looking you right now.
Okay.
It's
He
all
just
drag,
recruited
it's all
you,
drag,
like
it's all drag queens.
Gotcha.
Wow, really?
It's all drag performers.
I know
my
a few.
God.
It's
Yeah.
all drag performers,
And you raise money.
And we raise money. All the money goes to the food pantry.
Amazing.
Goes to Rasenbush Mental Ministries. People say you perform in a church. Yes, of course, because I'm a
Yes.
born again Christian Dior.
And the churches here are different. They're actually about love
the church.
Mhm.
Yes, and
Right.
The
it's,
true message.
and not control.
I'm actually a member of Judson Memorial Church.
I know that
Well,
because
and,
I did a
because you did
I did a,
teddy carrot down
yeah
years
benefit
ago.
with you there. That was
And I
really
screwed
cool.
up your name.
You did? I don't remember that.
I said Maria Gentile, and it's
No, it's fine. People
Just-
say that it's fine. It's Gentile, but
Gen-
it doesn't matter. It's people know who I am. Don't
Um,
worry about that. Now, Ruby. Now here's Mandar because usually Leo pops on, but Leo must be working. Ruby, if you want to find Ruby Rims, do you have a website or something, Ruby?
I don't have a website, but I'm on Facebook. You just
Okay.
say Ruby Rims on Facebook. I usually friend everybody.
Okay, Ruby's very friendly like that. You know.
She gets
I'm
around.
funny
She gets
that way.
around.
Yeah.
So if you want to friend Ruby Rims, go right ahead, and everything will be on your wall.
I'm a wall.
Okay, great.
I
And
built a wall.
listen,
But
way
everyone's
before.
welcome to come to it.
Right. But it's a virtual wall, and you can walk right
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, come on in. So
Rainbow on it.
there you go. And Jerry, if they want to find you, where do they find you? How can they find you?
On Facebook and Instagram, Very Jerry NYC. That's Jerry with the
And
G.
you have I liked your page today. Don't you have a page?
I
Was
do.
it the Very Jerry page?
That's
or was
the Very Jerry page on Facebook. That's my that's fan page.
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I liked your fan page.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to follow these performers, they're always doing something. Or that's how you find Ruby Rims. You can find them on Facebook. Jerry Mastrolia on Facebook, and also Very Jerry NYC. Now, Jerry, what do you got coming up, or what are you working on now?
What have I got coming up? Well,
You
tomorrow
just did the
morning-
Golden Gaze, right?
Yes. I just did. We're touring. It's our Golden Girls parody troupe. We're the musical,
Okay.
the Golden Gaze NYC, and actually tomorrow we are kicking off our Midwest tour.
What?
And yeah, we're going to be in
Oh my
Cleveland. We're going to be in Detroit, Chicago, Indiana, and Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've been really successful in New York, but traveling and going out there has just been amazing, and we've been getting
And what's the
amazing
response? Tell me about it.
You
'Cause
know-
it's different out there.
People, this is our first time in the Midwest. We've done Christmas tours, and this Christmas we're going to be in Fort Lauderdale for 2 weeks.
Oh my
which
God,
we're
that's with the
insanely
Golden
grateful
Girls.
for. It was a little idea that sparked at the Rue La Rue Cafe, the short-lived
I know
Rue La
Michael
Rue
LaRue
Cafe.
very well.
Phenomenal. He had a
Amazing.
beautiful, beautiful Mecca there, and we
I
were
know.
just so fortunate enough to have been birthed there
Right.
as the Golden
I hope he
Gaze.
brings it back
Yeah,
somewhere.
it's reopened now. It's reopened as the Halo Cafe, I believe.
Okay, and where's that?
That's what Blanche was telling me. The same location.
Up that way?
Yeah, he has. I don't think he has anything to do with it, but
Oh,
But unfortunately, you know, it was like it was a
But
shrine.
is it a Golden Girls place?
No,
No, that's
it's
what I
not.
mean.
It's not,
So-
unfortunately. But they
I'm
had
so-
amazing things going on there.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a Golden Girls Cafe. He was on the show.
Yes.
Well, one of the first shows I did, like show 6 or something. But this is show 115, by the way.
115.
Yes. So let's see. I got Dominic Pupo. What are you saying now? He's very jealous he's not here, I'm sure. How dare you out me? You know what? You wear caftans and spin around with your husband. You're outing yourself, sir.
What's the secret word, Ruby? Mary.
Mary is the secret word,
Mary.
right? That's right. Randall
Boy's name.
Warner has joined us. Hi, Randall. David Foley Jr. Hi, David. Michael Bow. Oh, my God.
Michael.
Michael Bow. And Silvana. I'm going to
Hi,
show
Auntie.
you. Hi, sweetheart. We were talking about you earlier. Stephen Herdemian is here. And who else? George Hernandez. He's from Miami. Hi, Georgie. Ben Goldberg has joined us. So many nice people. Rainey, what are you saying? I love that place. Which place, sweetheart? The Golden Girls, right? I know, me too. I was so sad when
It was
closed.
sad. It was a little mecca. It was a little shrine, you know?
Yeah, it was a jewel,
Yeah.
actually.
Yes, it was.
Amazing.
Yes,
And
it
they played
was.
Golden Girls all day, like on the television, on the big screen.
On a loop.
And they had these great, like, Golden Girls inspired recipes. That Some of them
Yes.
were actually from Rue McClanahan's
Personal.
personal recipe.
Yeah. Everything in there was owned by Rue.
Rue.
Her Emmy sat right on her piano,
Yeah.
and we were
Her
lucky enough to
dresses.
sit there. We were lucky enough to go in there and just
Sit.
sit
It
and
was
sing
incredible.
a song and do some bingo.
I have to find out. I heard a rumor that it may be opening Midtown.
Oh gosh.
Reopening. That would be great. Now, so you're going to go on tour, and how can
Mhm.
people find those dates? And if they're in the Midwest and they want to see your show,
We would love to have you. All the pals and confidants out there. Make sure you
Yeah.
check out thegoldengaysnyc.com, and that'll give you all the amazing opportunities. I was looking at our flyer at DragCon, and just, you know, again, that's another, going back to what we were saying.
imagine
about
that there's even a
families. There's at the Javits Center, you know, the
Javits
largest,
Center, which is gigantic,
ginormous.
right?
And families, and that's what it's about. It's about bringing the love. So we were there, and I was looking at our postcards that we were giving out, and I was like, oh my God, we have all those dates coming up.
Right,
Like,
that's pretty cool.
Could we hire an understudy?
Now, Ruby, did you go to DragCon?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not.
Now, can you even believe there is a DragCon?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Remember, you crossed that river, you went to these little clubs, not many clubs. You you dared to do what you did. You got
Right.
beat up.
Right.
You had to hide, and now there's a Javits Center full.
Exactly.
There's enough of it that there's a convention
Yes.
in a gigantic. Think about how far the world has come since people like you took a risk to do it.
And now one of the major TV shows on TV is Pulse.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Pose
Correct.
and Billy Porter just
And
won
Billy
the Emmy.
Porter.
Billy Porter just won the Emmy, and
It's crazy,
if
right?
you people folks out there have not watched Pose, please watch it. But before you do, there is a movie that was a documentary
Called Paris is
Oh,
Burning.
yeah.
Paris is
Burning.
Burning.
Paris is Burning.
Please watch it
First,
first.
yes.
You will understand Pose a lot more. Now, I knew
It's an
of the-
amazing
I knew of the-
documentary.
I knew of the drag balls, but back in those days, to be very honest with you, we white gay white boys did not go above 86th Street.
Right.
Number one, we get a nosebleed, and number two, we would get a nosebleed.
Right. So it was a different world in
It
that
was
way.
a
It was
different
very
world back
racially
then.
divided.
And to an extent,
Yep, that's a true
to an
statement.
extent, it still is.
Yeah.
Yep, it's true. And Dominic Pupa says, Ruby, thank you for paving the way for the entire community in and out of drag. It's true. You know, I have this picture with Ruby Rims. That's one of my favorite pictures. It was the day that that gay marriage became legal, and right by Stonewall, the duplex, literally 10,000 human beings flooded the streets.
Yeah.
And that's where they were. And I came in early to work the duplex early because they needed extra people. And I came out for a second just to duck out, and there was Ruby Rims. And I said, thank you, Ruby. If
Yes.
people like you didn't do what they did, we wouldn't be here today. And we have a great picture that I love. I should have pulled it up, and I cherish that picture, Ruby, because seriously, it's true. And Jerry, thank you to people like you that continue to carry that torch and say, like we talked about this earlier, that literally you are pulling that legacy of what, someone like a Ruby that took risks and chances started. You're pulling that through to the next generation, because a lot of your generation doesn't even know
No.
about these legends.
It should not be lost.
No, and
It should not.
but
be
how do you
lost.
tell stories? How do you carry it? You tell stories.
You tell stories, and I have been for a little while now, and I'm taking too long, but I have been writing my memoirs.
Have you?
Wow.
You
I've
should.
been writing
You
my
really should.
memoirs, And for years and years, I've heard people say to me, "Why don't you write a book? Why don't you have all these stories? Why
You
don't
really
write a
do,
book?"
Ruby.
And I was like, "Yeah, who would buy it?" And they say, "Oh, I would."
Are you kidding me?
And
A lot of
few
people.
years back, this young man approached me and said, "My name is Wes, and I have a new organization called the Generations Project."
Wow.
And the Generations Project is reuniting younger people with seasoned
I love it.
people
Right.
like myself. I'm not going to say old.
Right.
Nope.
Yes, I'm an old queen, but I'm seasoned.
Right.
Seasoned.
And
Little
you have
paprika, little oregano,
Right,
I'm
right.
seasoned. But I'm and so he came and asked me if I would talk, and it was and I went and I spoke, and then all of a sudden I'm in Starbucks, and this young guy comes in and says, Michael Musso's been trying to get in touch with you. And I'm like, who are you kidding? Michael Musso doesn't even know who I am. I don't know. So,
And if you
finally,
folks
he
don't know,
gives
Michael
me-
Musso
he
is
gives me Michael-
an interviewer and a
he
great
gives me
writer.
Amazing.
Michael Musso, for years, wrote for the
Village
for the
Voice.
Village Voice.
Mhm.
And incidentally, here's a little history. You probably know this. Where the duplex is now,
which I
is
still
where
work
the-
at.
was
the old
the
Village Voice building.
Well, anyway, this little boy, Brian, says, Michael Musso trying to get in touch with you. So he gives me a number, and I said, "Hi, this is Ruby Ramos. Oh, I've been trying to do an interview with you for years." So Michael Musso did an interview, and then these kids are doing, and
Now the Generations
wanna-
Project, Ruby, how do people find out about that? How did
yeah,
it?
it's called the Generations Project. I believe you can Google the Generations Project,
Right.
and they the things they've done stuff down at Sage.
Right.
For those of you who are not familiar with SAGE, SAGE is a senior action in gay environment. And maybe the right words, but it's for
Yeah. It's for older. It's for older gay people.
older
Yeah.
gay folks. And there was this two guys on Facebook, and someone sent me a link, and they said, "We're doing a walking tour of the village, all these old infamous gay bars."
Wow.
And so I sent him a little note. I says, "How you will know who I am, but I worked at those gay bars. I worked at the Anvil, and they were doing Rose's Turn." I said, "Well, Rose's Turn was the original duplex." They did not know that. So it is these young. Now they're called twinks. My day, we used to call them chickens.
I know.
I
I think they still call them chickens.
So I sent them a note. They said, "But yes, we know who you are. Please come and please talk."
Wow.
So I told my best friend Scott Munson, I said, "Come on, we're going to go. We'll go on this walking tour." I says, "But please know it's going to be these two young twinks, you and me, and probably 10 old queens reminiscing about the past." So we get there down to the village, and the twinks are there. Me and Scott and a couple old queens, and all of a sudden, they start coming,
Wow.
and they keep coming,
Wow.
and they keep coming.
It's amazing.
And there was like between 60 and 70 people there
Wow.
that wanted to know the history.
Right. And Ruby, you're one of those people that is a keeper of that history. And Peter Ian, we're almost at the end of our show, but Peter Ianello said, "Ruby Rims is a living legend and my hero, one of my all-time favorite people who did so much for gay people." Yes, Ruby.
Peter Lemongello, hello.
Lemongello,
Peter
that's
Lemongello.
So,
And so I said, okay,
yeah,
I'll write the book. So
You
it's
gotta
called-
write it,
it's
Ruby.
gonna- It's
You got a name?
titled Ruby Rims More Than Just a Drag Queen.
okay, love it.
And every chapter is a song title.
Oh, I
Yes.
love that.
Yes.
That's
And the
great.
first chapter is Do Re Mi.
I love
And
it.
it's okay, where do I start? Let's start at the very beginning.
Right.
A very good place to start. Oh my God, I haven't even finished a paragraph and I busted into a song.
That's it.
And
I
that's
love it.
what that's what our lives, the three, especially you and I and
Yeah.
you growing up, our life is music.
Yeah, it's
It's
true.
got
Jimmy, how much time do we have?
Minute.
Okay, we got a minute.
music has gotten us through our hardest time.
Yeah.
Everything.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Everything and laughter.
Well, Ruby, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come up. I'm so glad I cooked because I knew you wouldn't have come if I hadn't. Thank you, Ruby. Jerry Mastrolia carrying the torch across that line. Thank you, sweetheart. Love you both
Thank you.
so much. We want to thank Jimmy Bell, our producer and engineer. We appreciate you so much, Jimmy. Thanks to Armed Radio, armeddigitalmedia.com, Armed Radio Global. Come back every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. We love and appreciate you. Good night from What's the Story with Maria.